Oh, okay. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Sioux Falls City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 18th. I'd like to welcome all of you here tonight. I'd like to start off tonight's meeting with a roll call, please.
Councilor Aguilar?
Here.
Anderson?
Here.
Brown? Entenmann? Erpenbach?
Here.
Jameson?
Here.
Litz?
Here.
Rolfing?
Here.
We do have 6 members present with 2 absent, so we can certainly do the business of the city. I'd like to welcome Pastor Phil Tagg from the Ransom Church here in Sioux Falls. Very pleased to have you here, Pastor Tagg. And what we'd like to do is receive a blessing from Pastor Tagg, and then after that, if you'd remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, we would certainly appreciate it. Pastor?
I just wanted to share 2 quick scriptures with you this evening from Proverbs. Proverbs 29:25 says, "Fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety." And of course, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which you've all heard, says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take." Let's pray. Heavenly Father, it is You who we seek tonight for blessing, and You who we seek to guide our paths. And it's so easy when there's all kinds of opinions to be swayed. And I pray that this governing body would not be swayed by the loudest voice, but would be swayed instead by the still small voice that comes from You. I pray that they would not trust in their own opinions, but they would trust Your opinion. That they would not seek their own agendas, but they would seek You for what is best. And that as they meet tonight, as they consider the business of this city, that You would guide them as they walk for You. I pray this in Your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, everyone, and again, welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. We do have 2 proclamations that I'd like to share with you tonight. First, if I could have Lisa Fallon-Schultz come before us, please. Thank you. Lisa, welcome. It's good to have you here. The first proclamation reads, "Whereas January 2011 is the 10th annual Mentoring Month, as declared by the National Mentoring Partnership. This year's theme is Help Get There, Be a Mentor. Whereas sustained relationships with positive adult models are essential in the successful development of all children and adolescents. Whereas mentoring relationships between adults and children are known to improve academic performance, increase self-esteem, and build confidence in young people. Whereas nearly 17 million young people nationally and over 1,000 young people locally are in need of caring adult mentors. Whereas the goal of National Mentoring Month is to raise awareness of mentoring in its various forms, recruit individuals to mentor, and promote the rapid growth of mentoring by recruiting organizations to engage their constituents in mentoring. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim January 2011 as National Mentoring Month in Sioux Falls." Thank you so much, Lisa. And Amy Carter and Aaron Wimmer. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Whereas under the laws of all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and federal government, stalking is a crime. Whereas 1 in 12 women and 1 in 45 men will be stalked in their lifetime. And most victims are stalked by someone they know. Whereas 3 in 4 women killed by an intimate partner had been stalked by that intimate partner. Whereas many stalking victims are forced to protect themselves by relocating, changing their identities, changing jobs, and obtaining protection orders. Whereas between January 1, 2010 and December 16, 2010, the court system right here in Minnehaha County received 644 petitions for stalking protection orders. Whereas there is a need for greater public awareness about the nature, criminality, and potential lethality of stalking. Whereas the Minnehaha County Family Violence Council is joining forces with victim service providers, criminal justice officials, and concerned citizens throughout the city of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, and the United States to observe National Stalking Awareness Month and to promote the 2011 theme, Name It, Know It. Whereas the voices of victims of stalking offer us important insight into the personal pain and fear that victims endure, and are voices that deserve our attention, respect, and support. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2011 as Stalking Awareness Month in Sioux Falls. Amy, thank you. Could I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, please?
So moved. Let's.
Second, Aguilar.
Councilor Litz has made a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. It was seconded by Councilor Aguilar. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Could I have a motion for tonight's regular agenda, please?
So moved. Let's. Second, Anderson.
It's been a motion by Councilor Litz, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. to approve tonight's regular agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Thank you, City Council. That is passed 6-0 as well. Again, I'd like to welcome all of you tonight, and thank you so much for making the effort on a cold and chilly night. This is an opportunity for all of you to speak to your City Council. If there's anyone who'd like to come forward, please do so now. And we'd ask you just to keep it to 5 minutes if you could. And if there's something on the agenda that's going to take place later on, if you could save that commentary for later on. But otherwise, please come forth. Mr. Santee, welcome. Charles, it's great to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. I would like to address the topic of bus stops. The bus company tells me that it's the property owner's responsibility to clear bus stops. The City of Sioux Falls owns the streets. The City of Sioux Falls owns the gutters. The City of Sioux Falls owns the curbs. So why isn't the City of Sioux Falls cleaning that part of the bus stop? And there's 3 bus stops on Louise Avenue that are where the city installed landing pads. So I believe the city also owns those landing pads. Why are they not cleaned off? The alternative for dropping off people in wheelchairs is dropping them off in driveways. The angle can get very steep. In fact, I've had problems with a couple of them. One, I actually got stuck trying to get off the bus because I got high-centered. And I've been told by one driver he won't drop me off at Hy-Vee anymore because the way my footrest kept hitting the cement. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the streets along Minnesota Avenue is pretty much snow-packed at most of the places where the curb is adjacent to the sidewalk. That's because the snowplows go down the street and push the snow up on the sidewalk, and I believe they're supposed to clean that back off, and they're not doing it. So the travel on those streets is touchy at times.
Mr. Santee, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, folks, any comments for Charles or Mr. Litz?
I just want to thank Charles for taking the time out. Obviously, it's difficult for us to get around. I can't imagine what it's like for you, Charles. So thanks for coming down tonight and raising our awareness of this.
You're welcome.
David?
Mr. Santee, I would encourage you to contact Gary Caldwell, who's the City Americans with Disabilities Act compliance officer. If you need his contact information, I'd be happy to share that with you. But it's gcaldwell@siouxfalls.org, and I believe, going off memory, I think his number is 367-8745. I'd encourage you to contact him. And thank you for bringing this to our attention.
No problem.
And Charles, also, normally we would just take this opportunity to listen to the concerns of folks like you. I will make you fully aware that this is a very, very hot topic for me. It was something that we discussed right away at 8 o'clock this morning, my entire team. It was brought to my attention by you during my campaign a year ago. You continue to do that. There was a story on Kelloland that got my blood boiling at a level that it hasn't in a long time. You can ask Darren Smith about that. And it is something that we do need to do a better job of. Minnesota is not the only road. Minnesota, 10th, 12th. I went on Kiwanis today, and if you are blind or if you're in a wheelchair, you don't stand a chance. You just don't. Sioux Falls, we need to do better. Councilor Erpenbach passionately asked the citizens of Sioux Falls today at 4 o'clock, along with the business owners of this city, to do a better job trying to maintain the sidewalks, maintain those access ways for people, whether you walk, whether you're in a wheelchair or not. And Sioux Falls, we do need to do better. I know we live here in South Dakota. I know we're used to this miserable weather conditions and the snow. But the thing that we're not used to is being in conditions like this when we're in a wheelchair, being in conditions like this when we're blind. And until we step into these people's shoes like Charles, we don't understand the full extent. City Council, I apologize for taking the time to speak like this, and because normally, Charles, we just listen and learn. But I think it's probably time for someone above, even Councilor Erpenbach, to step up and plead with the people of Sioux Falls to do better. We need to. And Charles, also, we do have a responsibility to also take care of the sidewalks along the parks of Sioux Falls, which we've not been doing a very good job of. Also, yes, when we throw up slush and ice and snow onto some of these roads like Minnesota Avenue, we should be going back out there, and we're not doing it as efficiently and effectively as we can. Charles, thank you for coming here today. And Councilor Litz, I also thank you for acknowledging him. And Councilor Jameson, would you also like to speak, please?
As long as we're covering this item, maybe if there's a chance for us to learn if it's true or not that the property owner is responsible for removing snow. That is the case, and I suppose the question would come is if we in the future want to change that so that we make sure it gets done and that a citizen doesn't have to come forward and request that it get done and ask for us to enforce it. In fact, we just take care of it. But I got a nod from Mike that yes, the city is, or the property owners are responsible for removing that snow. So just to make that clear, I think with Charles.
But Charles, too, just so you understand, is that we also, though, have a responsibility as a city government to reactively as well as proactively work with those business owners when they are not following the codes or they're not being compliant with the rules of our city. And we do need to do a better job of that, and that's one of the discussions that I had with Darren today. I had a discussion with Mark Cotter today about Minnesota, for example, and the sidewalks adjacent to that. So we do need to do better, and we'll certainly try. Charles, any follow-up comments?
Yes, one of the problems I have been running into this winter is when the bus drops the ramp, there's a high layer of snow right along the curb, and they can't drop it down, and there's a gap of 1 to 2 inches, and I just can't jump. Well, I can probably get 1, but 2 is out of the question. Oh, one other thing is along 10th and 11th Street, for some reason, the city plows the boulevard. And when they do that, they push the snow right onto previously cleared sidewalks, which doesn't help the pedestrian, and the property owner has cleared his sidewalk, so if it was me, I would be lazy and not do it again, because he's done it once.
Charles, again, thank you so much for being here tonight, and I'll see you at the Saturday listening and learning session. Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak to the City Council? Please, sir, come on forward, and if you just wouldn't mind just giving us your name, please.
My name is David Zokaitis, and I didn't write it down over there.
David, that's fine. Come on up. Just state your name into the microphone, please.
My name is David Zokaitis.
Hi,
I guess
David.
that's loud enough. And I'm here to encourage more respect, mutual respect between police and citizens. Some people have the opinion that respect can be unilateral, but then it's not respect anymore. It's something else entirely. Stated somewhat differently, I'm here because I need to file a complaint against a local police officer. I'm charging the man with endangerment, harassment, in general, and being a jerk. But first, a little bit of background. I like to work out. I've been doing that regularly for about 35 years now. In the summertime, I can go canoeing on Lake Madison. In the winter, I can go snowboarding. But all year round, I can go out for a run. It's just weather. I don't care what it is. I can go out for a run. On Sunday, November 14th at about 9:30, I left my place for my normal run. It's about 1.7 miles. It's hard, fast, and intense. It's kind of fun going out, getting some good exercise. Towards the end of my run, a patrol car rolled up next to me. No lights, no siren. Officer rolls down the window, wants to chat for a little bit. He wants to know what my flashlights are for. It's nice to see where you're going when you run at night. It's safer to have flashlights than not. And then he tells me to stop. As a matter of practicality, when you're going for a hard run, it's just not a really good idea to go to a dead stop. There are a number of disadvantageous medical conditions like cramps and nausea, and you can even die from doing that kind of thing. It's different if you're just going out for a little stroll, because, but when your body is really in overdrive and you try to stop dead, that's just not a good idea. So when the police officer told me to stop, I tried to talk to him in between breathing hard because I'm still running, and I told him that it was medically dangerous to tell a runner to stop, which, that's just the truth of the matter. I've got a reference here concerning that particular topic. And at this point, your officer decides to get furious with me. I don't know what the heck got him up on the wrong side of bed that day, but if I'm just going out for a run and trying to talk to the cop when he's talking to me first, he should be able to react a little more calmly than with extreme fury. There's just no call for that. And for the rest of our 15 minutes, he proceeded to be obnoxious and threatening, and I don't need that kind of crap. I've already talked to the police department, but that's kind of an exercise in meaningless communication. 15 years ago, I had to file a different complaint with the police department and a different problem. And when I talked to the police, it was the same thing as it is this time. It's nice to say hi, but you never get an apology out of them. I had to talk to the mayor 15 years ago to get an apology that time, and I'm doing it again. So we've got a couple of problems here. First, I'm just going up for a run. I don't need any of this malarkey, and the police officer tells me to stop without good cause, and then he wants me to hurt myself by coming to a dead stop and not walking it off. So anyway, there's a problem there of endangerment, another problem of harassment for being a jerk, and then your administrators seem to think that everything is fine with the world, and I don't. It's just not quite all right here. Now, I've got the copy of my initial letter, copy of the captain's response, which basically blames me for everything, and then a few more notes. And should I leave it with you, Mr. Mayor?
That'll be fine, David.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Respect would have solved all this problem long before it came up, but it wasn't there. That's pretty much all I have to say.
David, thank you very much. What I'll do is take your letter. I'll certainly read it. I'll share a copy with the City Council as well. And certainly I'm going to share it with, of course, Chief Barthel of the police, and then we'll follow up from there.
I haven't talked to the chief, but I did talk to a couple of sergeants and a captain.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you for coming here tonight. We appreciate it. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the City Council tonight? Well, very good. Thank you so much for making the effort to come here. Let's go to item number 38.
New 2011 retail wine license for Chef Jenny and Company, Inc. Chef Jenny and Company to be operated at 3638 South Southeastern Avenue with the conditional use permit being approved on 12/1/10. Item 39, a new 2010-11 retail malt beverage license for Chef Jenny and Company, Inc. Chef Jenny and Company to be operated at 3638 South Southeastern Avenue with the conditional use permit being approved on 12/1/10. Item 40, special one-day liquor license for St. Therese Parish to be operated at St. Therese Parish, 901 North Tahoe Trail for the Mexican Fiesta Parish Social activity on February 12, 2011. And item 41, special one-day liquor license for Avera McKinnon to be operated at the Avera Prairie Center, 1000 East 23rd Street for a chamber mixer on February 10, 2011.
Hi, Lori. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Lori Hogstead with the City Attorney's Office. I'm here for items 38 through 41, and I can certainly answer questions if you have any on these items.
Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to any of these items, 38 through 41? Seeing none or hearing none, City Council, would there be a motion?
Move to approve.
Second, Jameson.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve items 38 through 41. It was seconded by Councilor Jameson. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilors Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 42.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by amending the Board of Ethics.
Mayor and City Council, this item comes before you as a second reading, and it has been sponsored by the City Council. They had a first reading in June 7th of 2010 and has been referred to from that point to Public Services Committee, where the committee made a full review of the entire chapter. There was input from the Board of Ethics and the City Attorney's Office, and there are many changes in the ordinance tonight, but primarily the main focus is to clarify a number of sections in the ordinance and to address concerns from the Board of Ethics about confidentiality in terms of when a complaint is filed and how those procedures are best implemented. To add provisions to clarify procedures when conflicts of interest arise with those who serve the board as staff, and to clarify the procedures for investigations and complaints. I'd ask, though, as you go to approve this item, this was amended in committee, and so I ask that you would make the motion to adopt this ordinance as amended and recommended by the Public Services Committee. Thank you.
Deborah, great job. Before we get a motion, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this? This is a second reading, so you do have an opportunity to speak to the council about this if you'd like. Very good. Yes, Councilor Litz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Say it's a small thing here, but I don't know. Sometimes a lot hinges on one word. But in our red notes here, and I've noticed this last 4 or 5 times, I've meant to bring it up, and this is probably something that Deborah could take care of, but it says this ordinance was amended in committee with a recommendation for due pass to the council, and due has always been spelled D-U-E in these cases, and I don't know if that is the way it's supposed to be or if it means anything or not. I just assumed due would be spelled D-O. I don't know.
We'll look into it for you.
Very good. Thank you.
Going to miss you, Councilor Litz. Very good. Would there be a motion from anybody on the council?
Move to approve, Anderson. Oh, I guess. As amended. Excuse me.
Councilor Litz has made a motion to approve the second reading as amended. It was seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Councilor Anderson Jr., seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilors Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 43.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a major amendment, petition number 2010-11-02 to Chapter 15.45.070, Plan Development Districts at the southeast corner of East 57th Street and South MacArthur Lane, amending the Southern Hills Plan Development District sub-area regulations. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Good evening, Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. This is a petition that has been submitted by Hy-Vee. The grocery store that's now at 57th and Cliff that used to be Sunshine, they are asking for permission to essentially relocate the existing gas station, which is currently on the northeast corner of this property. And the new location would be to the west and north of the current grocery store and parking lot, adjacent to 57th Street and MacArthur Lane. This site that's being proposed for the relocation of the gas station has a detention pond adjacent to 57th Street, and then directly behind that is a commercial use that was previously approved for a KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. There has been a number of neighborhood meetings with this proposed land use change, and during the Planning Commission hearing, the neighborhood said that they were okay with what was being proposed in terms of the pumps, the lighting, signage, and so forth. So the Planning Commission has made a recommendation to approve this particular amendment to allow this land use on this vacant site.
City Council, any questions? And to the folks in the audience, this is a first reading, so this is not an opportunity for you to ask questions. It's an opportunity for you to learn and listen, but there certainly will be another chance at the second reading. Item number 44.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a major amendment, petition number 2010-12-03 to Chapter 15.45.070, Plan Development Districts at 2425 South Shirley Avenue, amending the Meadows on the River Plan Development District sub-area regulations. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a petition to modify the allowed land uses as part of the Meadows on the River development to add a daycare facility. And the petitioner is for the Give Me a Break drop-in center. They have been operating at an existing location to the south of this proposed area. And they are looking, because of the success of their facility, for a better location that provides more visibility and access into more the middle of the Meadows development. The location that they are asking for approval is along Shirley Avenue within an existing multi-tenant building, which currently includes the Ruby Tuesday restaurant. The Give Me a Break Center has been very successful. Their hours of operation that they would continue to use would be Mondays through Thursdays of 7:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., on Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturday 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Again, at the Planning Commission meeting, we did not have any neighborhood concern or concerns from adjacent property owners. They do have a pretty good reputation as a service that's provided to people that are shopping or going out to eat in this particular area of the city. And with their success, again, that they've had before, they are just looking for a better location. They would be using about 3,200 square feet of this multi-tenant building. And the Planning Commission has recommended approval of this amendment.
Councilor Anderson Jr.
And Mike, I just wanted to make sure they are going to move from the Carolyn?
Yes.
The southern? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Just to clarify, yes, they are looking at relocating.
Councilor Litz.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I remember a couple of years ago this matter came up when the establishment across the street got a little bit wild and carried away. Now they're going to move to a new establishment, and I'm going to assume that they've looked at that same circumstance and possibility of it happening and are assuming that it's not going to.
Yes, they believe this is a better location.
Very good.
Yep, including the surrounding neighborhood.
Definitely.
Thank you, City Council. Item 45.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at South Discovery Avenue and West Browning Street from the RD Residential District to the RS-2 Residential District, petition number 2010-12-06, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a petition submitted by Steve Milligard representing Rocky Ridge 2nd Edition. This is an area on the west side of town. If you go out on West 12th Street, across from where the fire station is located, this is the general vicinity of this particular development. Mr. Milligard is asking for this zoning change to ensure that these 8 lots, which are highlighted on the exhibit, would be able to develop as single family primarily, and that any other type of residential use would have to go through a public hearing. Under the current zoning, these lots could be developed as twin homes without a public hearing. With this zoning change, they would have to go through a public hearing process. The intent is that this particular area will continue to develop as single-family residential. That's his desire as the developer of this area. So this is for the 8 lots which are highlighted on the exhibit.
Councilors, hearing no further discussion, would anybody like to set a hearing date and a second reading for Monday, February 7th, 2011, for items that we just discussed, 43, 44, and 45?
So moved, Aguilar.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Aguilar has made a motion to set that second reading for Monday, February 7th, 2011, for items 43, 44, 45. It was seconded by Councilor Litz. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item number 46.
A resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Tracy Turbach effective February 14, 2011.
Mayor and City Council, Bill O'Toole, Director of Human Resources. Obviously, you're familiar with this item. It's an item giving advice and consent to the appointment of Mr. Tracy Turbach as the city's finance director. And for benefit of the citizens watching from home, advice and consent is required by the City Council whenever the appointed officer has control over 5% of the employees or 5% of the budget. I'll let you figure out which one applies to the finance director. But Mr. Turbach is here along with his son, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any, as would I. Thank you.
Councilor Jensen.
I suppose it would be inappropriate to ask his son what he thought about his father. But if he had any stories, maybe he should tell us about prior to us hiring him.
Don't bite on that.
Tracy, if Tracy has a moment to come up, I think we should.
Yes.
Welcome, Tracy.
Good evening.
Councilor Jensen.
You know, I think it's the resume that I saw. I think you're very well suited for this job. I think we'll be just very well served with your work. Have you thought about some of the challenges you might have coming from Watertown to Sioux Falls based on the accounting system that we use versus the one you're used to? Is there any challenges that you're aware of coming forward?
Certainly there will be challenges, and that's part of what attracted me to the position was to meet some new challenges and tackle them head on. And I have no doubts that learning a different accounting system will certainly be one of those first challenges that I'll need to get a grasp on. But harking back to my days as an auditor, that was something that you had to get a grasp on very quickly as an auditor when you went in, and you may be on site for a particular city or county audit for a couple of weeks, it may be a couple of months, but you needed to learn that accounting system very quickly and learn where to go for information and how the system works. So I have no no doubts that I'll be able to get a grasp on that very quickly and learn the system. It's the structure of the fund accounting system for the city of Sioux Falls really isn't all that different than it is for the city of Watertown or the city of Aberdeen or any other South Dakota community. So there are going to be many similarities, and it's going to take a little time for me to find those differences and learn that process.
And just to give you a heads up on the council, I can't make any joke. I'm sorry. I won't make one, but I don't want to make one.
Councilor Jameson, thank you. Councilor Urbanbach.
I just had one comment to make about the having the second South Dakota Municipal League president in a row being from Sioux Falls. Thank you very much for coming. We're pleased to have you.
Thank you.
Councilors, I just wanted to thank you for as well for the opportunity to have Tracy come before this body. It was a battle royal. There were a number of very, very qualified candidates that applied for this job. However, none of them with the credentials of this fine man. I know that Councilor Brown is not here tonight, and I wish that he was, because he knows Tracy Turback extremely well. He has spoken very, very highly of him in the past, and in fact he did when he found out that Tracy was hopefully going to join our team. Again, Tracy Turback, I cannot thank you enough for wanting to tackle the challenges that the city of Sioux Falls faces, as well as the opportunities that the city of Sioux Falls faces. And we are so fortunate to have you, your son, your bride, and any other family members and dogs and pets who want to come to Sioux Falls. We're very pleased to have you here. So, Council, any further comments or motions?
Mr. Mayor, I think as I recall it, when we approved Mr. Rowenhorst, we did do a vote on it. So
yes.
I would move to accept this appointment.
Second, Urbanbach.
There's been a motion by Councilor Litz to give advice and consent to the appointment of Tracy Turback, effective February 14th, 2011, to lead the city with our finances. It was seconded by Councilor Urbanbach. Any further questions or comments? A roll call vote, please.
Councilors Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Urbanbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
That is passed unanimously by this city council. I'd like to welcome Tracy Turback and his family to the city of Sioux Falls, and he will be leading the finances for this great city. Thank you. Item number 47.
A resolution excluding certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
This is a petition by the city on behalf of Mr. Robert Van Beek to exclude approximately 2 acres of land from the current city limits. The history of this item is that back in 2006, this particular strip of land was petitioned by the owners at that time of Willow Run Golf Course to be annexed into the city limits. And since that annexation was approved back in 2006, there was a dispute between Mr. Van Beek and the golf course as far as the ownership of this strip of land that's being considered tonight. There was a difference of opinion between a fence line and an actual property line. And through a court settlement, it was determined that this strip of land did in fact belong to Mr. Van Beek. So on behalf of Mr. Van Beek, the City Planning Office agreed to take this forward to the City Council with this request to remove it from the current city limits. This is located just east of 6 Mile Road, and it extends for approximately 1/4 mile to the east. It's a strip of land that is approximately 76 feet wide on the west end and about 55 feet wide on the east end. So again, it's about 2 acres of land area total. And I think there was a clarification today that the petitioner is in fact the City Planning Office or Department on behalf of Mr. Van Beek. so that we might need to amend the resolution to reflect that petition is by city planning as opposed to the owner of the property. But we obviously have Mr. Van Beek's permission and desire to move forward with this request. That's the end of the staff report.
Councilor Jameson.
I was just going to make a comment that I do have the amendment when we're ready.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this item? Yes, welcome. Welcome. If you just state your name, please.
My name is Pat Kane. I'm a lawyer here in town, and I have represented Mr. Van Beek in his efforts to get this strip back into Van Beek's tract. It has taken us a long time to do it, and the history of this little strip goes back much further than 2006 because it belongs to Mr. Van Beek through right of adverse possession, which requires 20 years at least. The property was as he found it when he bought it and took it over and began to live there, and the fence line was put in so far back that the mind of man runneth not to the contrary as to when that was done. It might have been, we think it was after the Civil War. So that's the history of that little strip. And when you put a fence in the wrong place and everybody accepts it for 20 years, that becomes the law of the land, of the property. In the process, we were required to have this named Van Beek's Tract and to have it platted and recorded in the Office of the Register of Deeds, which has been done. And all of that took time and quite a little effort. There was some resistance to it. The golf course hated to give it up, I'll tell you. And they were the ones who attempted to usurp it and put it in their, move it into their column, somewhat wrongly. And it cost them a few dollars, I'll be glad to tell you. Thank you. And we urge you to go ahead and adopt this. This is just putting this into the law of the land. I did want to make a remark that this is the first time I've been here in such austere circumstances. On several campaign programs, they had something to drink when you came in here. I appreciate that you can't do that.
Mr. Kane, it's good to have you back, and you're always welcome back to
Thank you.
come here again. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to this item in the audience? Very good. Counselor?
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution, so do we need a motion to approve this to move it forward?
Yes, I think we do.
That's what I would like to do at this point.
Counselor Liss has made a motion to approve. Counselor Jameson, did you want to second it with the proper reading?
Sure.
Would you mind?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion, an amendment to the main motion to change the words by the owners in the first paragraph to read by the city planning office.
I should introduce Mr. Van Beek and his son. At least they're here also and enjoying what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Kane.
Mr. Mayor, I would
Yes.
I would second the amendment to the motion. Erpenbach.
Now, we had Counselor Litz made the main motion. We needed a second, and I think that we'll give the credit to the second to Counselor Jameson. Then Counselor Jameson made an amendment to the main motion. We're going to give him the credit for making that motion. Then we had a second by Counselor Erpenbach on the amendment to the main motion, which was made by Counselor Litz and Counselor Jameson. How are we doing, Denise? Very good. Thank you so much. We now have a motion, an amendment to the main motion. Any further discussion? City Council, could we have a vote on that, please?
Councilors Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed 6-0. We now have an amended main motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a roll call vote there, please.
Councilors Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Thank you. That has also passed 6-0. City Council, are there any other items you'd like to discuss tonight? Hearing none, if I could have a motion to adjourn tonight's City Council meeting.
So moved. Rolfing.
Second, Litz.
Councilor Rolfing's made a motion to adjourn. It was seconded by Councilor Litz. And hearing no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilors Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, residents of Sioux Falls. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great night.